Hello and welcome back to my Nautilus Adventure Toy Box. Last time I built this giant squid, which looks pretty decent, but right now it's pretty lifeless because it does not move at all. And we really need to add some movement to bring it to life, and that's what I want to try to do today. And thanks to my viewers and some fellow toy box artists, I have some promising ideas for how we might do that. Now, in the original 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea movie, the crew had to avoid the creature's tentacles, which were trying to grab the men or knock them off the ship. But since I cannot make the rail slides move by attaching them to paths, we have to get creative. And so what I'm going to do is connect some pendulums to the end of a few tentacles to hopefully make it feel like the monster's trying to swat at you. And so I was thinking one of them could go right up here near the start of this, but I think we're going to have to replace that piece of terrain there. So let me just drop this up here. And we're going to delete that and that. And I'll pick this piece up and scroll over to this large rounded cliff. And we'll put this up against that tentacle leading directly down to the squid. And then I'll need to move this pipe climb so I can bring the other sections of terrain forward. And the nice thing about that terrain here that I just replaced and put that one down, the thinner piece, is it has this section along the front where we can place this and it won't collide with anything. See, if we go too far back, we hit the stones that are protruding on the top of that. But if we come out just a little further, then we have that. And let's style this to use the same style that we're using for the squid, which is the Groot style, as I recall. Okay. And then we want to attach some tentacles to this. And I was thinking I have this extra tentacle over here that's kind of redundant with this one. So let's move this up. And I think we'll try putting this on the back side of this, because this is up pretty high. Unfortunately, we're going to have a little bit of a gap there, but I don't think that'll be a problem. But this is up pretty high, so in order to get down to this level, we're going to have to do some some rail slides to make that happen. We're going to need some space to make to put those in and make that happen. All right, so we'll do that. And then we'll use this steeper one, I think. Well, that one's not going to go. So we'll have to use that one. And once again, I'm going to style these as I go. And I will set my theme, so all future ones of those that I drop down will use that theme. Alright, so that brings this one up here. And now the original was over here, so we can't use those. But I think we can use the steep one now. Yeah. Now let's go ahead and style that. And then this will slide out there. I think we just have to connect that up. Yeah, there we run into a little bit of a problem. Okay, so we're going to have to move this a little bit. I think probably the easiest way to go kind of like it centered over that tentacle, but I don't think we can do that and have it come down here and connect up. So we're going to have to move this a half a block to the left, I believe. Half a nudge there. And I know this looks a little goofy at first, having that pendulum there, but hang with me because I think you might be surprised. And it does look a little bit goofy at first, but the more I played with this, actually, the more it made sense to me. And I kind of got over the goofiness of it. All right, then we'll go ahead and style this. Squid rail, there we go. Okay, so when you're looking at it from this side, standing on the squid, you can't tell there's a gap up there. That provides a nice obstacle. And when you're here, unless you really work to look up, you're not going to see the gap, so it's not too bad. And that does give you a little bit of an obstacle there and some movement. So it's kind of like the tentacle is moving to try to swat you off, but not really. But this is a toy box, so we can kind of pretend, right? At least that's my thinking. That's the whole point of toys, right? Is we pretend. Okay, so now we're going to drop another one over here on the edge of this. And we'll try it here first. And we'll try attaching another tentacle to this, but this one I think maybe we can use this and make this look a little bit more realistic. Now the problem here though that I'm already seeing is if I were running a tentacle into the side of this over here, I think this would work, but because we're a half a block back is where this is centered on, I think we need to move this pendulum out here. But of course I can't do that because that rail slide is there. And so we're going to move this rail slide out of the way temporarily and put this pendulum down with a replayer. So let me pick that up and put that down. And let's go over here and grab our replayer. And we'll put another one down right here. Alright, so we'll step on that. Start recording. Step off so I can get back in the editor. And we'll drop a pendulum right on the back side of that, just like that. That's where we really need this to be. And I don't want to do anything else until I stop recording. I almost started to do a little cleanup over there. I don't want to do that while this is recording. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and stop recording. I'll press A to clear. That took the second pendulum out, which will allow me to move this rail slide back up and reconnect it. And now we'll take that out. And then we'll play back our replayer. And that put the pendulum back in. So that's good. Alright, so let's move this little piece. Connect that back up. And once again, let's style this to use the tentacle theme. And now we need to get from there over to our squid. And I think I might see a problem. Yeah, we're hitting a couple of things here. So we're going to have to put this up, but that's hitting that. Okay, so let's take this out. And let's put the shorter one in, which is this guy. And once again, let's style that, because I haven't put one of those down yet. We'll move this over. Move this piece over, which will get it out of our way for that next pendulum. And that's going to mean that we don't need this piece anymore. There, now I have room to put in this without actually hitting anything. Oops, except I am hitting the pendulum. Alright, so we'll put that in. And then we will put in the ramp. Okay. That's starting to look a little better. And we're going to want this to come in over here. Connect up to that. So I think we can put a turn in here next. There's such a big bounding box around these rail slides that it becomes a bit of a challenge to get those things connected. Okay, so now we have two pendulums going, and they're connected to the squid. And that really makes it look like part of the squid. So it's like it's trying to knock you off, which is good. And we'll do one more over here. Let's see, let's pick this up just to keep us from having to do a lot of scrolling. In that platforming toys drawer. And I'm not sure if we're going to need to move that pendulum a little bit or not. I was trying to look at that and try to count how many of these I might need. Oh, I hate that bug. Come on. Stop spacing out on me. Alright, so this is only going to connect up so far. And I would like to try to put the same little thing coming out of the top on there, but we got a long way to go down and a short way to get there to connect up down here. So thinking this might be the way we have to go with this. And I may end up needing to use the small rail there, but we'll see. Alright, so if we bring this down, and once again I gotta style that. I really wish the rail slides worked like the terrain, where once you set the theme, it would remember it. Yeah, see, that's got to connect, that's got to go down even more. I wonder if instead of this, we can put in maybe one of these little short pieces here to lower that down. Before I style that, let me see. This might hit the... Oh no, it doesn't hit the ledge there. That's good. Alright, so then we'll style that. We moved this. Let's move that down. That connects up there. Style that. And I think we may need to move something, because I don't think this is going to be long enough. Nope, we need that. Oops. Oh, come on. It's going to be annoying. This thing. Well, I think you get the idea. We need to move this over. One nudge that way. And connect there. Alright, so then we'll move this over. Move that over. I don't think we can move this over because that's going to hit this. So we'll have to move this ledge over. But I think that'll be alright. Now we can move that over. And this is still a jumpable gap. Alright, so now we have 3 pendulums. We got some movement going on, and I think that's really good. Now it kind of feels like the tentacles are trying to knock you off. Alright, now another idea that I have actually comes from Lion T HD, who suggested replacing the targets that I'm using here for the eyes with a different toy, namely the flower target from the Inside Out playset. This. And we'll have to connect that to a path because that sticks out a little ways. But the advantage of this is we can actually open and close this with logic. And because we can make it open and close, that's going to help this thing feel a little more alive. And so I'm going to replace that on both sides. And since we can close this thing, we can take out this little eyelid thing up here that I wasn't real happy with anyway, and put a trigger area up here. that when the player enters that, we can close the eye. So the player can't stand up here and shoot it, and I think that'll feel a little bit more natural. So we can put a trigger area there, and a trigger area over here. And we're going to need a path creator. I think we can get by with just one. So we'll place the first one, or the first point in there, and I'll just drop a point down. And exit. And we'll set the properties to turn off auto start objects when connected. Alright, so then we'll connect this one up to the path. And let's enter that. Whoops, nope. There we go. And we'll go into the properties, toy box path. I had to do that to make sure I had the camera control. Alright, so bring it out to 4. That puts it right on the edge. And it's up a little high, so let's move that down as well. Once again, go in there to anchor this thing. Anchor the camera, I mean. And put a vertical offset of -1, I think should do it. There we go. And we'll connect this one up the same way. New path connection. Vertical offset -1. Forward, backward offset 4. Okay, so that puts that where it needs to be. Now, I'm thinking, and Lion THD suggested this, and I'm thinking it's a good idea, is when the player gets over here, we don't want to just leave this and let the player kind of draw a bead on it. Make it a little bit more challenging. So we're going to have this open and close at regular intervals. Like it's blinking and opening and closing it. And in addition to trying to line up for that, to take the shot when it opens, if we're distracting the player with some enemies out here that are going to harass them while they're trying to do that, I think that would be good. And that makes it feel more like this is part of a bigger attack. So maybe like this is the Kraken from Davy Jones. And so we'll have Davy Jones's pirate men attacking you out here while we're doing that. But for right now, let's focus on the eye. And to make this open and close, we're going to need a couple of things. We're going to need a repeater. And we're going to use a time delayer. And I'm going to need one on both sides. Let's see if we can get one working first. I'll hook the other one up offline. But alright, so let's think about this for a minute. We'll have this open for maybe 3 seconds. And we'll have it close for 3 seconds. So let's set the repeater to 6 seconds. And we'll set the time delayer to 3. And I had thought about maybe hooking this up to a logic gate and using the blocked behavior and the open and close on the gate to do this. But then we're definitely locked into the time on here. So it's going to be maybe 3 seconds open, 3 seconds closed. But by having 2 different sections of time available, I could set these differently so that it's open for 2 and closed for 4 or something. And so that's kind of what I'm thinking. And I did already set that to 3. Yeah. All right, so the idea would be, let's set another trigger area down over here. I want to do that. Well, maybe I'll just connect this up to a level starter. Let's try the level starter first. I might change my mind, but... Alright, so on the level starter, we'll do a new logic connection on catalyze, turn on the repeater. And on the repeater, a new logic connection on repeat. We're going to do 2 things. We're going to close and a new logic connection on repeat. We'll start the time delayer. And on the time delayer, a new logic connection when the delay is completed will open. Okay. Now if the player enters the trigger area up here, entered by player any, let's go ahead and stop the repeater. Yeah, I'm already seeing a problem because if this has already been kicked off, I don't want this opening the eye after 3 seconds. So let's do this. The repeater going to the flower target, let's change that to open. And on the time delayer going to the flower target, we'll change that to close it. And we'll have the level starter on catalyze start this in the closed state. So it's closed. When this goes off, it'll open it. When this goes off, it'll close it. All right, so on here, when the player enters this, when entered by player any, we'll come down and close this. And we'll also stop the repeater. When entered by player any, turn that off. And if this did get kicked off, then 3 seconds later, it'll try to close this, but it'll already be closed. So this will stay closed. And then when the player leaves this trigger area, we'll reopen it. So a new logic connection when exited by player any. Then we'll go ahead and open the eye. New logic connection when exited by player any. Start the repeater. This repeater will actually immediately close it again. So I'm thinking we don't need that last connection I did. So on the exited, let's just delete that link. So when the player exits the trigger area, that kicks off the repeater, which tries to close the eye, which is already closed. And 3 seconds later, it'll open. So it'll be open after the player leaves that area. So I think that will work. And let's drop a button over here and just test that logic out. Let's see. I need a button. And let's connect that up to the level starter. And let's see how that works. Okay, so it starts off closed. And then it opens. And then it closes. And it opens. And it closes. Okay, so that's pretty good. It gives it some life. And I like that. Now, if we come up here and we try to cheat the system and just run up here to shoot the thing, it's closed and it stays closed. It's not going to open because it knows I'm up here. So if we leave, now it's back to doing what it was doing. So I like that. Alright, so the logic on this side then will hook up the same way. So the level starter will be connected to this repeater and this target the same way. These two will be configured and connected the way I did those two. And we'll connect this trigger area up with this and this, same way I did the one on the other side. Alright, so now we have the eye opening and closing. We got some tentacles moving with the pendulums. It's starting to look a little more alive. And let's see, another idea that I had, and I'm already going over on my time, but I want to try this out. The other idea that I had is based on the fact that squids can squirt ink as a defensive mechanism. And so I thought it might be cool to simulate this by triggering a temporary sky change to a pitch black sky whenever one of the eyes is hit. So let me drop down the sky changer. And try this out, and then we'll wrap this up for today. And we're going to need another time delayer. And I'm thinking we'll try maybe, I'm thinking 10 seconds might be a little long. But we'll try 10. Alright, so we'll come over here to the target. New logic connection when this is hit. We're going to do some other things when that's hit, but right now we're just trying to add life to this thing, not actually build the whole battle. Alright, so when that's going, we'll start the delay, and we'll also trigger the sky change. Oops, that was the block. That's the path, or the target. So when hit, come over to our sky changer, and we will go, I think it's under 3.0, or maybe not, pure white sky. Oh, maybe it's under 2.0. Pitch black sky. And when the time delayer goes off, 10 seconds later, when the delay is completed, we'll put our underwater sky dome back. That'll simulate kind of a ink attack, kind of a defensive mechanism on the part of the squid. So when we shoot that, That makes things a little harder to see. And there we go. So we could even make that a little bit longer if we wanted to. And another idea that someone had was to maybe use the action enforcer. And have this also ink the player. So new logic connection when hit. Come over to the action enforcer. And let's see, I think it's sludge or symbiote. Let's try symbiote. The triggering player. Yeah, I'm all inked up now. And we could even add a sound effect for that too. But we are all out of time. So I think I'm going to have to stop the video here. But I think our giant squid is starting to feel more alive and more like an actual creature that we're fighting. And that's good. All of the extra movement and everything that's going on looks pretty good. What do you guys think of it so far? Leave a comment before you go and let me know. And be sure to like and subscribe for more toy box builds like this one. Thank you for watching and have a great day.